Dave Chappelle isn't just dodging the woke mob. He's standing in the middle of the battlefield, smoking a cigarette, daring them to cancel him. In a world where comedy is on life support, where every joke is a potential crime, one man refuses to apologize. Dave Chappelle has made it crystal clear. Woke culture is a joke, and he's not laughing. And when it comes to the transgender debate, he's not bending, not breaking, and definitely not backing down. Is he crossing the line, or just exposing the absurdity? Let's unpack the chaos, the controversy, and the comedy that has made Chappelle public enemy number one in the culture war.
There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes on load.
Dave Chappelle has never been one to tiptoe around controversy, and his response to backlash from the transgender community proves just that. Instead of apologizing or backing down, he made it clear that he refuses to be pressured, canceled, or controlled by woke activists. In response to calls for a meeting with transgender activists, Chappelle made a statement that perfectly captures his unbothered attitude.
To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands.
Chappelle emphasized that while he's open to discussion, it has to be on his terms. He laid out 3 conditions for any potential meeting.
And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny.
In one of his most talked about moments, Dave Chappelle shared the story of Daphne, a trans woman who attended his shows multiple times and laughed harder than anyone, even at the trans jokes.
There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad.
Chappelle noticed how genuinely joyful she was, throwing her head back and laughing without restraint. Seeing her reaction made him hesitate. Should he hold back his trans jokes?
And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to like fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. To my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, this is a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, like, what the fuck just happened out there? Like, why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes? So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and like you can see like all the staff was there like cleaning the club up, the audience had gone, and sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne.
After the show, Chappelle found Daphne sitting alone at the bar. She invited him for a drink, and he agreed, not wanting to seem transphobic for declining. Over tequila, they talked, and Chapelle learned she wanted to be a comedian. She even asked for his advice.
And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing, so I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila, and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, she says, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us.
Chapelle recalls a moment in Austin during COVID when he and his wife were at a bar, just trying to enjoy their night, until things took a turn.
I got in a fight. I almost got in a fight. It's complicated. I was in a bar in Austin with my wife, and it was during COVID, and a woman came to our table, and she was maskless. And this bitch came over, no mask, all H words. Hi, how are you? Droplets was coming out of this bitch's face. We all covered our drinks. Oh, bitch, what are you doing? Now, I looked over at the table that she came from, and I peeped game. The men at the table were filming me. This happens when you're famous. People will come over and try to rattle your cage and get you to say something stupid or dumb so that their buddies can film it and they get a video of you embarrassing yourself. And clearly I said, this is what's happening. And these dumb motherfuckers thought that it was my first rodeo. Sadly, it worked. I ran right over there. I said, I pointed right in the camera. I said, you's a bitch-ass nigga for doing this to me. And the dude was shocked that I said it. He said, oh. And when he did like this, I seen all his fingernails was painted, and I realized, like, uh-oh. This fella's gay.
Chapelle didn't hold back when calling out what he sees as a major issue within the LGBTQ+ community, the way some individuals shift their identity based on convenience.
Is a major issue that I have with that community. Gay people are minorities until they need to be white again.
He made it clear that a black gay person wouldn't have pulled the same stunt on him as the guy in Austin, because they understand how the system works.
I'm being very brutally honest so we can solve this problem. I'm telling you right now, a black gay person would have never done that to me. Because a black gay person knows when the police shows up, they're not gonna care who called them. They don't show up like, which one of you niggers is Clifford? We're all Clifford.
Chapelle then shared another wild encounter, this time with a lesbian woman who tried to sell a fake story about him to TMZ 6 years prior. She falsely claimed he beat her up in a nightclub for being a lesbian.
This happens far too often. Another time, about 6 years ago, there was a lesbian woman that tried to sell a story about me to TMZ. Thank goodness TMZ could see right through the sham of that story. This woman claimed that I beat her up in a nightclub because she was a lesbian. That is fucking crazy. Bitch, I didn't even know you was a woman. Thank God TMZ didn't believe that. Because I did beat the shit out of her, I'm not gonna lie. It was her fault, I had no choice.
Kindly like, subscribe to Woke Loudmouth, and don't forget to turn on notifications for more. Stick with us. He explained how the altercation started. He was just being polite to a woman who greeted him when her lesbian fellow aggressively intervened.
I came in the club minding my own business, and a woman came up to me. She goes, "Oh my God, Dave Chappelle." And I was just being reciprocally nice. "Hey, miss, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. Benign talk, nothing to it. And all of a sudden, this lesbian fellow stepped between us. "Hey, nigga, that's my girl." I said, yo, my man, back up like that. She said, "I ain't backing up off shit, nigga, that's my girl." I said, "Bro, you're gonna have to give me 3 feet like this." She said, "Stop calling me a man, motherfucker. I'm a woman." I said, "What?" And then I looked deep in this nigga's cheekbones. I said, "Oh my God, you are a woman." It was just too much for me to even wrap my mind around. But I tell you what, I unballed my fist immediately, and I softened my posture so that she would know she's in no danger. I even changed the tone of my voice. I said softly, sweetly, like a pimp might say, "Bitch, I'm about to slap the shit out of you." I should have done it. Oh, I wish I didn't say that. She dropped that foot back. Boop. She was in a perfect southpaw stance. Her shoulders were angled correctly. Her head movement was good. I said, "Oh no! This bitch boxes for real." She threw a wild hook at me, and I saw it coming from yesterday, so I slipped it like this. I had no choice. I had to go to work. I let that jab go. You should have seen me go, nigga. I tenderized them titties like chicken cutlets. I whooped the toxic masculinity out of that bitch.
Chapelle dove into the Kevin Hart controversy, where Hart faced backlash over an old joke about how he would react if his son exhibited homosexual behavior.
Okay, Kevin said that if his little son was demonstrating or exhibiting homosexual behavior around the house, that he'd chastise him. He'd say, "Hey, that's gay." And then he said he would smash a dollhouse over that child's head. Ooh, the gay community was furious. And I don't blame them.
The gay community was furious, and Chapelle understood why. He acknowledged the real struggles that many LGBTQ+ individuals face.
I got a lot of gay friends, and all of them, 100% of them, all have told me fucking horror stories about the shit they had to go through just to be themselves. Crazy, crazy stories. And in all those stories, I gotta say, not one of them has ever mentioned anything like their father smashing a fucking dollhouse over their head. Because clearly Kevin was joking. Think about it. You would have to buy this nigga a dollhouse to break it over his head in the first place. Does that sound right? Is anybody gonna do that? The gay community was upset, and then they put so much pressure on the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences that they went to Kevin and said, "If you don't apologize to that community, then you cannot host these Oscars." And then Kevin said, "Fuck it, I quit." And then he went on every talk show in America and apologized for 6 weeks. But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people.
Chapelle lays it all out. In today's culture, there's an unwritten rule in show business. You can never, under any circumstance, upset the alphabet people.
You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's.
He jokes about how they've taken 20% of the alphabet and how, despite having friends across all groups, one particular letter group can't stand him. And while he understands their anger, he admits he just can't stop telling these jokes.
People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. But the T's hate my fucking guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these things. I don't want to write these jokes, but I just can't stop.
Chapelle isn't backing down. He refuses to let woke outrage dictate comedy, a space that has always thrived on free speech, pushing boundaries, and exposing uncomfortable truths. But this isn't just about Chapelle. This is about the bigger conversation. Who decides what can and cannot be said? Should comedians and artists bow to the outrage machine? Or should they keep pushing forward, unfiltered and unapologetic? What do you think? Has woke culture gone too far? Or is Chapelle just pushing buttons for the sake of comedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it.